So if you're looking for what to make for your baby girl that you don't have to break a bank, whether for a birthday shoot or for your baby to just look absolutely gorgeous or during this Christmas season, then this video is for you. It's your girl Tinua Day of Style by He. You're welcome to another beautiful tutorial. If this is your first time here, you're welcome, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you for sticking by. In today's tutorial, I'll be teaching you how to make this beautiful baby dress. This tutorial is absolutely beginners friendly, so without much ado, let's jump right into the tutorial. I've gone ahead to fold my fabric into 4. Yes, that's a fold of 4. This is because we'll be cutting our front and back pieces together, and we are not going to be using zipper. Instead, we'll make do with button. And the measurement I used to put the fabric on fold is hip measurement divided by 4. That is quarter of your hip measurement plus 6 inches. Okay, I think I added 5 in this case. You can do between 4 to 7 inches depending on how wide you want the lower part to be, but within the range of 4 to 7 inches is just perfectly okay. Next, I'm going to go ahead and mark half of my shoulder measurement. Yes, and on that my shoulder marking, I'll go down by 3/4 of an inch as the shoulder slope. Okay, so the next I'm going to do is to mark my neck width. The neck width I'll be making use of is 2 inches. Remember, I'm making this dress for a girl of 4 years old that is on the slim side, so I wouldn't want the neck to be too wide. Okay, the depth I use is 2.5. For the fronts, remember we are cutting the front and the back pieces together, so the front neck depth is 2.5 while the back neck depth is 1 inch, and the neck width for both the front and the back pieces is 2 inches. So the next thing I'm going to do is to make my neck depth to meet with my neck width. You can actually use your free hand, and if you have a curve, you can connect it like so. So the first connection I did is for my front, so I'll go ahead now and connect my back neck depth to meet with my back neck width. Okay, so I'll label that for my front and that's my back. Okay, so I'll connect my neck width to meet with my shoulder slope, just as you see me do. So I'll go ahead now and take the full length of my gown, which is 25 inches, but added 1 inch to it as my hemming allowance. Okay, so I have a total length of 26 inches there. Please take note of the placement of my tape, that I place it on the starting line, not from the shoulder slope. So the next thing we're going to be doing now is to mark my armhole line, which is also my bust line. And I got that by dividing my shoulder measurements into 2, and I imputed the value there. So if this dress were to be with a sleeve, I'll add half an inch to it. Okay, so the shoulder measurement is 10 inches divided by 2 is 5, so I imputed the 5 from my shoulder slope. Under my bust line mark that I just made, I'll go ahead and impute my half of my shoulder measurement there, so that I can create a straight line like so. So on that my bust line, I'll go ahead and impute quarter of my bust measurement plus 1/4 of an inch ease, then plus 1 inch sewing allowance. Okay, quarter of my bust measurements plus 1/4 of inch ease plus 1 inch sewing allowance. I came out diagonally by 1 inch where the two lines intersect, and I created a curve like so. Okay, so we have our armhole there. So on my hemline, I'll go ahead and mark quarter of my hip measurement plus 5 inches. Then I'll make a connection there. I'll come up by 1.5 inches at the hem of the dress, just as you see me mark. Then I'll create a curve to meet the hem like so. This is to remove any form of pointiness by the sides of the dress. Okay, and to give it a rounded effect. So as it is, we are done with our marking, and the next thing we are going to do now is to cut out. Please take note, we are going to be cutting our back neck depth first. Okay, we are going to be cutting our back neck first. I'll also go ahead and add half an inch at the shoulder side for joining. So for this tutorial, because it's Christmas season, I decided to make use of red and white fabric. Yes, there's still going to be white fabric on it. Yes, it's still going to come in, so kindly follow through the tutorial. So if you are not comfortable using the white and red, so you can decide to go for any color of your choice. Now that we have cut out following our markings, so I'll go ahead and remove one of the pieces as my back piece, and the other one I'll retrim the neckline so that that one can serve as my front piece. And now we have our front and back pieces. So I'll go ahead and pick up my back piece again. Yes, so I'm going to be creating an opening there for our button. So I'll be marking 5 inches down from my neckline like so, and I'll open it out. So if you are watched to this part and you haven't subscribed to this channel, kindly do so now. Turn on your notification icon so that you'll be notified when I upload new tutorial, and don't forget to like, comment and share. Thank you. The next thing we're going to be doing now is to cut faces for both our front and back pieces. Okay, so I've gone ahead to mark 5 inches from my armhole, just as you see me do. I've gone ahead to mark 5 inches, so that's where my facing is going to stop. And I went ahead to put a fabric on fold, and I placed the back piece on it, just as you see me do. So the 5 inches mark that I made from the armhole is going to be sitting at the edge of the folded fabric, just as you see it on the screen. So I'm going to go ahead and secure with pins, then trace out the back piece on the folded fabric, just as you see me do. So I'm sure you'll be wondering why we need the facing that long. Don't worry, just follow through the tutorial. You will see later. Now that we are done cutting, I'll go ahead and mark that same 5 inches that I marked for button opening on the main fabric on the facing also. Then I'll go ahead and cut it out. Please be sure to make your button opening a bit reasonable long so that it will be easy for your baby to wear. So I'll go ahead and set the back piece aside, then work on our front piece. So I've gone ahead to put my fabric on fold. Yes, you can see it. So I've also gone ahead to mark 5 inches from my armhole, just the way we did at the back piece. So I'll go ahead and make sure that the 5 inches mark is sitting on the straight edge of the folded fabric. I will secure with pins. I will also retrace it from that part. Now that I've successfully cut facing for both my front and back pieces, I'll then move to the sewing machine. So this is my front piece, and I've gone ahead to unpin the facing from the main fabric. Yes, so this is me placing my facing on the fashion fabric, and I'm going to be placing the facing on the fashion fabric with right side facing each other. I'll go ahead and make sure that they are both laying on each other properly. Then I'll go ahead and secure with pins before taking to my sewing machine. So I'll go ahead and stitch the neck with 1/4 of an inch, that is, yes, 0.25 of an inch, and I'll also stitch the fashion fabric to the facing with 0.25 at the armhole. Then I'll bring it back to show us what next to do. As for the back piece, I'll make sure that the facing is sitting on the fashion fabric with right side facing each other. Okay, then I will go ahead and secure with pins. I will turn the neck part with 1/4 of an inch, that is 0.25. I will also turn the armhole with 0.25, then bring it back to show us what next to do. Please note that for the back, you are supposed to cut a tiny piece. Yes, a tiny piece like this, like 1 inch wide, and probably as long as you want. That's if you want more than one button loop. Okay, so 1 inch wide and as long as you want. Okay, so and you're supposed to sew that loop and insert it in between your facing and the main fashion fabric before you turn your neckline. Yes, the loop is going to be sitting at the button opening before you turn, but for my case I wanted to use something different, but I still ended up using the button loop because it didn't really work. It didn't come out the way I wanted. Just follow through the tutorial, you understand what I'm trying to explain. So I'll go ahead and stitch the facing to the fashion fabric using 0.25 seam allowance on the neck, and I'll make sure that that V part, yes, that my button opening has a V stitch. Okay, so I'll also go ahead and stitch the armhole with 0.25, then I'll bring it back to show us what next to do. Then lest I forget, I used hemming gum. Yes, hemming gum to turn the neckline. I inserted it while I was sewing, so I'm going to be placing the hemming gum like so, and I'll just go ahead, take to my sewing machine and stitch down with 0.25. I'll be repeating the same thing at the front. I'll place my hemming gum on the neck part and stitch it down with the fabric so as to have a clean finishing. So after stitching down and turning to the right side, this is what I have. I've also gone ahead to give it a very good press, so you can see the neckline part is well relaxed, and that's one of the major things that hemming gum is going to do for you. Okay, so this is what I have. That's the back, and this is my front side. You can see it's all well laid out and very neat. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do now is to place the front and the back together with right side facing each other. Then I will go ahead and join the shoulder with 1/2 inch. I'll stitch the side with 1 inch, then at the hem I'll fold with 1/2 inch. Okay, so if you have a serger at this point, you can go ahead to serge, but as at the time I was making this video there was no light, so I'll just go ahead and join my shoulder. Please take note of how I'm going to put the shoulder inside each other. This is because we are dealing with a sleeveless that is turned at the armhole. Okay, so this, just take note of how I'm going to turn it so that we can have a very good finishing at the shoulder parts. So after placing the front and back pieces together with right side facing each other, I'll go ahead and sandwich one of the shoulder into the other one. Just take note of how I'm inserting them into each other so that by the time I stitch, this joining of the shoulder will be inside and will not be visible on the outside. Okay, so because we use hemming gum around the neck part, that part might be stick together. So what you are going to do is just to open it out so that we'll be able to sandwich the two shoulders into each other, so that by the time you finish sewing with your 1/2 inch, you can go ahead and press that part again. Okay, so if you follow the process, you understand what I'm trying to explain. Okay, so fortunately for me, the light was restored, so I went ahead to serge it, and you can see I've gone ahead to join the shoulder, and I've gone ahead to also hem the lower parts. Okay, and I went ahead to stitch the sides with 1 inch, and this is what I have on the inside, and you can see it's all looking neat. Okay, so because that part of my facing has a very neat edge, I decide not to weave it. But in your case, if you know that that part is rough, just go ahead and weave it, or you fold it. And on the outside, this is what my baby's dress is looking like. You can see it, so it's looking beautiful already. So as for this part, I wanted to do a lacing kind of design on it, but at the end of the day it didn't work, so I ended up using a button loop. Okay, so just do whatever it is that suits you around that part. You can also do a zipper if you so desire. Okay, so let's go further to the design at the edge of the dress. So these are the pieces I'm going to be needing to make my bow. So the first piece I have here is 14 inches wide and 25 inches long. Okay, so I'm going to be folding it together like so, and I will be stitching it all around. Okay, and I will leave a space where I'm going to pull it out from. And this is the second piece, which is our belt. If you notice the design, there is a bow sitting on a belt, a long belt. So this one too is like 35 inches long and 5 inches wide. Okay, so I'll go ahead and fold it like so, and I'll stitch it with half an inch. Okay, so you can give it any shape that you want at both edges. So this is the belt like shape that I want. You can actually leave it straight if you so desire. Okay, this is how I'm going to be stitching my belt, and I'll open it out and turn it to the right side, and it's going to be sitting on the bow like so. So this is the small piece I'm going to be using to bind the first two pieces together after turning. Okay, so this is like 1 inch wide and 3 inches long. So after stitching all these pieces together, this is what I have, and I've also gone ahead to press them. Okay, so I'll go ahead and place these two pieces together, and I'm going to bind it with the smallest piece there. Then I'll come in with my needle and thread and secure the small piece so that it will hold in place the two long pieces. Okay, so you can see me, this is me tacking. So while I was done securing the pieces together with the other smaller piece, I went ahead to trim one side of the small piece so that I can fold it inside to cover up my stitch. So this is me tacking it down so that everything will be neat. It will not be rough on the outside. Okay, so I have my bow intact. So our bow is ready. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to tack it to the shoulder. So this is how it's going to sit on the shoulder. So I'll go ahead and still tack that to the shoulder. Okay, so I've gone ahead to cut these circular pieces that is going to sit at the hem of the dress, and I did that using this my container to get this circle. Okay, so before deciding to go for this container, I had already measured the circumference, and I made sure that it's actually what I wanted, and I came in with this my shearing scissors. Yes, it creates this kind of design, yes, at the edge of my circles. So if you don't have this kind of scissors, you can actually make do with your normal scissors. Okay, so I got as many as I wanted, and the next thing I'm going to do now is to fold it into two, and I'm going to stitch it in the middle. Okay, and I will be placing another one ½ inch away from the next one. So I'll go ahead to my sewing machine and I'll start stitching them with ½ inch away from the next. Then I will bring it back to show us what we have. So after untacking the bow to the shoulder, this is what I have, and I've also gone ahead to attach the circular pieces that we cut out to the hem of the dress. So you can see the way I stitched the circular pieces on the hem of the dress. You can see I left like half an inch to 3/4 of an inch in between each piece, and this is what I have at the end of the day. Also have done my highlights on the back. So this is the design I had in mind, but the fabric was fraying, so it wasn't supporting the design well, so I decided to just ignore that, and I attached my button loop. So I wasn't that bothered about the highlight because it gave that back part another kind of look, as if I deliberately did the design there. On the original picture, the design at the hem was made to be 2 steps, so I decided to stick to this just 1 step, and I already like it. So if you like, you can make yours to be 2 steps, so it's still the same procedure. And on the bow part, I decided to cross the bow together like this to give it another kind of look. You can actually leave yours the way you want. So thank you for watching. Thank you for sticking by. It's good having you here. So don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and turn on your notification icon. So thank you, and see you in my next video. Bye.